Today, we're going over how to carry games as a top laner when your team is inting and the game is falling apart around you. Let's get into it. Before we get into the details and go over what took a 4k gold lead for the enemy team at 12 minutes and resulted in my team having a 4k gold lead not even 6 minutes later, let's first look at the comps and break down just a few things that I thought about when going into this game. So the first thing to keep in mind is that we have a jungle matchup of Viego versus Kayn. I have more of a full clear style jungler that doesn't have a lot of agency in the ganks, whereas they have Viego and they have some setup in the mid lane. He's probably going to look to play around where he can get set up, and he just has a little bit more agency as a champion early. If you look at the bot matchup, it's double ranged versus double ranged, right? Varus Lulu versus Lucian Milio, both really strong laners. Really just depends on where the jungler's path and how those lanes end up playing out in the early game. That'll dictate kind of like who gets the lead. I think if either side gets ahead, it'll start dictating the pace of the game. So we're going to go over a bunch of stuff in the early game, a bunch of key points. I have a bunch of time marks on my other monitor that we're going to go through, and I'm going to show you guys how I took this game where my team was inting their brains out and turned it into a win. So we're just going to go through a bunch of early stuff. So at first, if we just look at 450 into the game, I have a wave stacked in front of my tower, and I have a good HP advantage. Aatrox ends up having to go home, and I see Viego show bot lane and Talia show bot lane as well. And as soon as this happens, I decide to opt into not base and TP and instead just look to pressure this Aatrox on the push, see if I can crash this wave. He ends up taking a pretty bad trade. We both end up getting low, and this results in me getting a solo kill on him. You see here, we're going to all in each other. He goes for a flash, i.e. his auto, stun him, flash away, minions finish him off. So now the wave crashes. I knew enemy mid and jungle position, and now I'm in a good spot top lane. So even though my bot lane's dead early, I still have my TP. He still has TP as well, but I'm in a super good spot. So we're going to fast forward a little bit more. It's about 7 minutes into my lane now. And here, my Kayn has just taken the grubs, and I'm looking to try to set up another kill on the Aatrox. So I go in for the early trade, get him down real low. Kayn comes in, we finish him off. Boom, second kill onto Aatrox. I'm 2-0. I see Viego bot lane. I know I have enough time to push this wave, push it under the tower, grab a plate for myself. We're good. I'm in a great spot in this game. My lane is perfect. And if we look, tiny little freeze frame, Talia's strong, Varus is, a little bit strong, and Lulu's just kind of whatever. But my Victor and Lucian not having a great game so far. Aatrox is really weak though, and my champion against bruisers performs really well. So already in that instance, even though my bot lane's a little bit behind, I'm feeling good in the game. So we're going to skip further ahead again in my lane. We're at like 10 minutes in now. And here my Kayn is on my side, and I'm trying to soften up this Aatrox for a potential dive, potential another kill. So I use my ult early. I go in early, I get his flash bone, and Kayn's going to come in here, and we're going to kill him again. So now it's going to be the third kill onto Aatrox in the first 11 minutes of the game. And me and Kayn are both actually going to escape here with just the skin of our teeth at 1 HP. So let's take a moment and let's freeze frame the game here. Okay, we're 11 minutes in. It's 13 kills to 4. Actually, let's get it so we can bring up the tab. Let's bring up tab here. I think I'm going to hit it here again in a second. All right, boom. Let's freeze frame. So let's get in. Let's gather all of our information, and let's start making educated decisions about how we're going to need to play this game. And I'll go through my thought process about what I thought I would need to do. So my champion performs well against auto attackers and against other bruisers. So against Aatrox and Viego, my champion is strong. I don't do so well against Talia, and I don't do so well against CC. Talia, Varus ult, Lulu polymorph, Lulu ult giving him extra HP, Talia's rocks. All these things are things that my champion is going to really struggle with, especially when my team is behind. So right here, 11 minutes in, I'm making the conscious decision that I'm probably going to opt into more split pushing this game. We have 3 grubs. If we can get the second set of grubs, I'm even going to be more inclined to split push. So I'm thinking maybe Trinity Force into Hullbreaker, into Sterax, give me like 1v2 type items, things that just make me super strong in the side lane. That's what I'm thinking about. Another thing is that my Kayn is the only other member on my team that is strong. When me and him are going to have to 2v2 potentially later on, we smash. I even smash in the 1v2 depending on how fed I am against Aatrox and Viego. So it could even be some 2v3s that me and him could probably win. So what's the plan? Get Trinity Force, potentially opt into split push items, and if the game keeps going to shit, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play for the split, play for the 1v2s on the side. that is our plan so far. Now that we know our plan, let's start going through all the stuff in the mid game that I did to flip this game on its head. Keep in mind, at this point, my team is down 4,000 collective gold. I have a pretty big gold lead on the Aatrox, probably around like 2k myself. But if you take my gold lead away, my team is down probably 6,000 to 7,000 gold as themselves. So let's go over what we're going to do. Enemy just took grubs. So I know that Viego probably did a bot into top, clear, took the grubs, and now it's probably going to reset. My team is taking dragon right here, and they're going to be playing on the bot side. But I'm strong enough right now to 1v1 this Aatrox and get him low enough that even if Viego were still on my side, I could probably kill him too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a really aggressive trade onto Aatrox, and I'm not even trying to kill him here. I'm just trying to put him really low so I can send him home. Put him to 100 HP. I end up diving him and killing him, and that's just a little bit of icing on the cake. I proxy the wave. I take the top tier 1 tower. My bot lane ends up getting a pretty good situation. Kane ends up going bot. We get 3 kills. Kill on Viego, or onto Talia, and onto Varus. Massive kills for the game, while I was taking top tier 1. This starts a little bit of that gold swing. Now we're going to skip ahead a little bit more. We're at 14 minutes in. There's no objectives up on the map. And I'm strong enough where I can be 1v2ing this Aatrox and this Viego. I make it a note to myself. I do not want to be around the boss side of the map. Even though Talia had died and Varus had died, they are still really strong in the game. And if I start trying to pull fights around them, it's not going to go well for me. So I start playing really aggressive. I'm trying to get this Viego to show himself on my side of the map. And boom, I see him. Now I want to keep this pressure up. Now that he's on my side, I don't want to give up this pressure. So I go for another heavy trade onto this Aatrox, put him to 1 HP, me and Kane kill him. Now, we're going to pressure the top tier 2 a little bit, get Talia to show, and this is where a huge swing happens. Aatrox is dead, Talia has shown, and look at this situation. So this guy's dead a little bit longer. Talia has now shown top. So what does this do for the map? What it's going to do is, it's going to allow Victor to shove the mid wave, and then potentially lean and go to a bot play. I have my teleport up. I'm going to channel recall here, and this is where I could potentially make a game-changing play. So I'm going to channel my base, and I'm going to look to rip my TP instantly bot. I see Varus' mana's low. I see Lulu's low. TP comes in, and even though my Lucian and Emilio aren't high HP, Lucian goes for a really good trade. I hit a flash 3-man stun. We kill 2 people. Talia ends up dying mid. Viego has to flash away. Huge swing for the game. And this is all off just the small details of making sure that I keep staying in the side lane until I can find my opportunity and make sure to pounce on it. And I did just that. We found our opportunity to make an impact on the map with our TP, and we did it. So we're going to push the Viego out of the jungle so that we can get the bot tier 1. And now, let's freeze frame again, and let's just regather all the info and make sure that we understand the situation in the game still. If we look at this bot side of the map, they are collective 3 and 12, okay? They are not strong at all. So what does that mean? That does not mean that now just because I had a successful bot play that I'm going to start team fighting. There are tier 2s in the side lane that I need to grab, and I'm a Jax who's strong enough to 1v2. So any side of the map that Talia is on, I want to be on the opposite, and I want to be banging these tier 2 towers down. That is my only objective. So I go top with Kane onto my side, and I just ping. I want the tower. That is my only goal. It's tower first. Boom, we get it. We're able to run away. I end up coming back on the map because they're greeting for the tier 1. And this ends up being another big swing for us, where we end up getting, I think, 2 kills. Yeah, 2 kills. We don't end up killing Lulu. And now I'm still just thinking, we got 2 more kills, but what do I want? I want this next tier 2. They're a little bit delayed on their death timer. We end up killing Viego. My Victor is now, decently strong in the side lane. We take the tier 2 bot. Okay, we do that. We pull another fight in their jungle. It's a slight win. That's fine. I mess up a fight mid. Happens. But, again, we're just going to try to get to a point where we can look at what's happening on the map. Skip ahead, bang. Look at what I've done, right? This whole game has been about staying in the side lane. I know that I'm still strong enough where I could potentially team fight with my team and win, but I don't want to do it on the enemy's terms. I want to do it when the enemy overextends for a play, and I like what the fight looks like. I'm strong enough in the side lane, so that's where I want to stay. That's also Jax's power, right? He beats towers down. He beats people in the side lane. He 1v2s people, 1v3s people. So I don't want to deviate from that. So even though the enemy team is posturing around Baron and kills 2 of my teammates, I'm immediately bot lane, and I'm immediately bashing this tower and inhib down. Now I'm going to Hexgate out. and I reassess the situation. I see that both my teammates pretty high HP and the enemy's pulling Baron, so I'm gonna rip the TP in. I TP in, and we wipe them. We kill all 4 of them here after they take Baron. And sure, they get the Baron, but it's another huge swing for my team. That's 4 Barons down. Aatrox ends up TPing, trying to match me, and I'm still massive. So what do? 4 people are dead. This Aatrox is the only member alive. I stay on the map. I go mid. I take the mid tier 2. I take the mid tier 3, and I take the mid inhib. This is about applying pressure even though your team is behind. My team has been so behind this whole game, but it's about understanding your champion's identity and your champion's strength in the game and what you can do with it. Knowing that Jax is a strong side laner, a strong 1v2er, strong against bruisers, weak against CC, weak against things that can stop him from being able to auto attack. Playing and taking all that information, gathering it, and pushing it into the game, making sure that you use it the proper way. Staying in the side lane, staying away from Talia, away from Lulu, flanking, keeping my TP up when objectives are up. All those things are what made this game and this situation possible to go from what was such a losing situation to now I'm the one in the driver's seat in this game. I'm strong enough to keep going into the side lane and keep pressuring the map. There's going to be another bad fight mid. It's going to happen. And I was aware too early on in the game that like it's on me, right? Even though my team is behind, it's on me to be the one to want to win. You know what I mean? Like you have to will it. You have to want to win in these games because it's easy to check out, to autopilot, to not really think about what you need to do to lock in. But when you start gathering the info and you're super aware of what you need to do to make sure you can win, that will be what will allow you to make the proper decisions to win these games. So again, even though I'm super strong, look where I am even this late into the game. I'm going to be permanently in the side lane. My team ends up dying mid. I'm not even flinching at it. I'm not ripping a bad TP in their base or whatever. Like, you know, this little ward as this fight's happening. I'm not trying to get in, you know, a little flank there. I want to stay in the side lane and I want the enemies to come to me. Viego ends up face checking me here. We get a pick on him in the jungle. And now that Viego's dead, I'm just going to still stay in the side lane. And this is another key point. This, I'm pretty sure, was my team's soul. So I'm pretty sure they probably want to hard contest this dragon. And I want to get the dragon too. But I know that the second I leave this side lane and I'm no longer here, if I show on any vision over here or they see me walking mid or whatever, Aatrox has no incentive to stay top lane anymore. The incentive is he has to try to stop me. So Viego ends up going to drag, he ends up stealing it, but he dies. So what do I do with this? I go mid and I pressure the inhib and I grab it. And what does my team do? My team makes probably what was their best decision of the game. Instead of coming and trying to bail me out, I try to survive as long as possible. I didn't realize Talia had a stopwatch, so she ends up living. My team insta-runs to Baron, grabs Zida's 4, and now we have 4 Barons on the map with me walking back out. And where do I go, guys? We're not going mid. We're not going to our team. We're going to the side lane. I go bot lane. I just want to beat these inhibs in, and that's where I want to stay. I end up leaving to grab red for my team. I stay bot lane. My team ends up pulling the fight mid themselves, and they end up winning because at this point, Victor is pretty much scaled, and they don't really need me to win this fight, sadly. But even though I wasn't a huge part of some of these later fights where my team is winning, I'm indirectly impacting the game. You know what I mean? By constantly being in the side lane and the enemy team knowing that it's not Aatrox that can hold me. It needs to be Aatrox, Viego, and maybe one more. Maybe Talia, maybe Lulu. They need minimum 3 people to stop me from blowing up their base. That gives my team man advantage plays permanently on the other side of the map. This is where, if we go back to, you know, the very start of this game, okay? Let's bring it all the way back, all right? At 11:07 when we, very start, when we knew this game was in a very dire situation. Making the decision here to lock in, to decide that I want to try to win this game, gathering the info to make sure that I know who I need to play away from, what I need to play to, who are the members I can play around on my team. This is where it was decided that I was even going to try to win this game, right? Like, I'd already been playing well, but like here, when it's fucked, when the game is fucked and my teammates are playing bad, it's not about flaming them. It's not about giving up. It's not about saying that, this game's a wash. I played my early game well. We can scratch this game. Fuck that. Let's lock in harder. Let's try a little bit harder and let's just see what we can make of the game. And even though I wasn't a part of those endgame fights, I was able to bridge the game by pressuring this side lane to get my Victor and my Lucian and my Kayn to the point to where they could actually be a part of the victory and a part of the game-winning plays. To me, when you're playing a champion like Jax, a split pusher, a tower beater, and when you're winning lane, The worst thing you can do is try to overcompensate too early in the game, try to show up to a fight too early, try to TP when you're trying to compensate for your team's bad plays. It's not about that. It's about making sure you're making the percentage plays that are good for you, making the good split push decisions, making the good flank TP decisions, making sure that you're playing on your timers, on your item spikes for what you think is best in the game. Obviously, when we got to that end stage, let's just skip ahead right back here, right? And my team is strong. Now they have a little bit more agency. The Victor can go in the side lane because he knows maybe he can 1v2. My Lucian Milio feels strong playing in mid lane. It's not just about me anymore. It's not about my team catering to what I need. And that was good by them as well. But I also had to make sure that if a fight got pulled mid deep right here, let's say that my team gets pulled on here, what's the best decision? Do I think I can just end if it's just Aatrox defending at his Nexus? And if so, let's try to end. If I don't think so, let's TP to the fight. But those are the more minor decisions you have to be able to make after you've locked in and made sure to bridge that game for your team. And that was the full game breakdown of my Jax game. That was a very unwinnable game that I flipped on its head and turned into a winnable game. There are 4 main points I want you guys to think about and take away from this. The first one is you have to want to win. In those games where you're losing, where your team's behind, where the game is hard, you have to want it. If you got to mute autofocus, if you need to lock in harder, if you don't want to autopilot, you need to want to win. The second one is you need to constantly identify and update your win con throughout the game. Meaning you need to think about who's strong on the enemy team, who's strong on your team, who can you play towards, who do you need to play away from, things like that. Figure out if you need to split push, if you need to team fight. What's the win con? What is the overall goal, the thing, the objective that is going to get us to the win at the end of the game? The third one is when you're strong in the side lane, stay in the side lane. Don't overcompensate for your teammates' mistakes and group too often. If you can 1v2, if you can 1v3, stay in the side lane and put the pressure on the enemy team to respond to you. And the fourth one is be patient with your TP. Like I did in that game, I didn't want to waste my TP on a play that was like an 80-20 or a 75-25 or a 70-30. I wanted to, for the enemy team, I wanted to look for plays that were favored for me. I wanted 80-20s in my favor. I wanted the enemy team to be overplaying, overcompensating, trying to, force plays on the opposite side of the map where I could TP and flip the play on its head. That's what we look for. So, just to recap, need to want it, identify and update win con, stay in the side lane, and be patient with your TP. Those are all the tips. Hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.